Welcome to the KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast. It's the Dynasty Podcast with the league to follow along with. I'm Brett Steele, and joining me, as always, Mr. Jonathan Detroit Haynes.
Yo, 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 go blue. Let's go.
And filling in for the Zenful Matt Smith this week, it is the Marmot Midnight Riders GM, Mike McGee.
I just want to thank you guys for allowing me this stage to be here. This is a whole different stage. A lot more viewers, a lot more millions around the world watching. I come from off the cuff, small beginnings, and I'm just happy we're able to cross the streams here tonight and do this together.
Crossing streams.
Let's get to the crossing some streams. You all may know Mike McGee, as he said, from the famed sister show and the KDFL Broadcast Network, Off the Cuff. He's gracious enough to join us as Zenful Matt had other obligations. So, boys, let's get to it. NFL Week 9 has come and gone. We start off on Thursday with the streak finally being over. Deontay Johnson finally gets a touchdown. It's his first touchdown since Big Ben, which is absolutely ridiculous to think about. I mean, obviously he's been productive, but the touchdowns just haven't come. Other than that, Thursday night, there was really not a ton to write home about. I do have a good question for you both, though. George Pickens, did they just replace AB with another diva-type personality at wide receiver?
I mean, it's really looking like it. I saw a stat today that since Deontay Johnson's come back in his 2 games, he's had 23 targets to Pickens 10. He's obviously not liking that. He's definitely got some Antonio Brown in him. So not looking good there in Pittsburgh, but yet they got a winning record. I don't know how, but they do.
Yeah. Now, see, the thing is with George Pickens, it was always contested throws, right? Contested throws and catches. And with Deontay Johnson there, the offense opens up a little bit more. So I don't think Pickett has to force the ball to him as much. So I think that's why we're seeing like less and less going Pickens' way. And he does seem to be the type that the you're going to have to feed him to keep him happy. Like he's not going to be happy just with the team getting a win. He had a horrible – you never see an NFL wide receiver fail to get 2 feet down when they have that much room. He had that horrible missed touchdown catch. Other than that, there wasn't much to speak on. Now, I will say, Mike, on Off the Cuff, I'm going to steal from it right off the bat here. You posed a QB question, and I believe 2 of the QBs were in this game. Can we repose that from a dynasty standpoint?
I believe the question was, remember it's a little foggy at times. I think the question was, who would you rather have a quarterback? What we've seen right now, it was Levis, Bryce Young, Kenny Pickett.
That's so tough. From a dynasty perspective, Detroit, they all, honestly, just to give background, so to give you time to think, they all essentially went, round about the same spots in the KDFL draft. I think Levis was pick 8 or 9, Pickett was pick 3, and Bryce Young, I think, was pick. You had 3 in a row, so he was like pick 4, I think, 5, whatever.
I think it was pick 4.
Yeah, but you had him in a row, so it could have been either one. But yeah.
And I don't know. I'd probably go, oh, God.
It's tough.
Levis? I guess Levis.
Oh, man.
I just don't – I did draft Young, but I just feel like they have to improve that offensive line there. He's already tiny. He's going to get crushed and hurt. I mean, he does have a little bit of a history of getting hurt. So, I don't know. It's just tough. That's a tough question.
I don't think anybody is anybody picking Kenny Pickett right now?
Okay, so it's like 3 different things. Like with Bryce Young, you have the draft status. 1.1, huge deal, investment in him. Levis, you have it's 2 freaking games, but you've seen the most on the field talent. But Pickett, I think you have the most stable situation. So it's very like the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback is very rarely, there's very little turnover there. So it is extremely tough. I don't know. I think you just close your eyes and go Levis right now, which is wild to say. Based off 2 games of, I don't know. I could say
if
either
Levis
any of them,
does
and I'll feel
this-
bad.
Yeah, I think if Levis does this 2 or 3 more times and he looks comfortable, I think you could look at that and maybe easily pick Levis because Detroit mentioned Bryce Young. We talked about the size. Can he hold up? Seeing over the line, not a lot of talent there in the offensive line. Can he hold up? Pickett at times, man, outside of the last 5 minutes of the game, looks very below average quarterback. I don't know if that's a Matt Canada offense type deal where you kind of turn him loose in the last 5 minutes. But Levis, as far as the arm strength, I thought the Titans kind of felt him a little bit on that Thursday night. He was throwing the ball downfield pretty well, man, dropping it in the basket, and they kind of tightened up there at the end, throwing a lot of screens and things like that when he was having success going downfield.
Yep. I mean, of all the picks, and we'll go back to the KDFL drafts, the Levis one was by far the most mocked at the time. The other ones made sense pretty much where they were. I mean, they were about, give or take, whatever. That's about where they were supposed to go in a super flex league like we have. But the Levis pick was whoa, what are we doing? So it's hard. I don't understand what they've seen in practice that kept him off the field based on what we've seen on the field. That part's been a little weird to me. I don't know why we were ever discussing a Willis Levis split role to start. So that I feel like that's a fake out that, it's not always our fault when we think that these guys aren't going to hit, and they do. Okay. That's it for Thursday night. It's a pretty brutal game, especially from a fantasy standpoint. We could go to London next, where we start at 9 a.m. with the Chiefs and the Dolphins. The main takeaway from this, and you'll notice it's a theme this week because there wasn't a lot of standout fantasy performances. So this is going to be more of just a player discussion type of podcast because there wasn't humongous performances like there normally are overall. I mean, there's obviously a few out there, and we'll hit on those, but overall, Kelsey struggles. He has 4.5 points on 3 catches for 14 yards. It was basically the Dolphins saying, we'll take him away, make Patrick Mahomes select one of his other receivers to beat us with. Obviously, we have a fluky turnover in that game and some weird plays down the stretch from Tua, the ball slip out, whatever to end it. But do we think what's the concern level with Kelsey? That's so dumb. I'm just rattling off what feels dumb to say right now. But what's the concern level with Kelsey? Is this a new blueprint? Is this just a blip for taking him out and making somebody else beat you? Because you couldn't do that before with Tyreek Hill on the field. You can do that now for the lack of other options. So what do we think?
I mean, it's one game, really.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's not like this has been going on all year. And they didn't have Hill last year, and he still dominated.
It's true.
For me, though, it does seem that something's off with Kansas City's offense. Even though I still think they're top, I think when I last looked, they're like number 7 in offense. They just don't look the same. I guess it's just dominant. So I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't worry if I'm a Kelsey owner.
The only thing I would worry about. Go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead, Brad. Okay.
No, the only thing I would take away from this is that the Dolphins did get their other cornerback back and Ramsey. So I think the teams with 2 good cornerbacks can do this. Not every team is just going to be able to do this with Kelsey. So that's one thing I could take away. If you have 2 solid cornerbacks, and not a lot of teams do, this may be a strategy you can use. But other than that, I agree with what Detroit's saying. It's not huge cause for concern.
Can you say that again?
Whatever. Refuse. What are you going to say, Mike?
No, I was just going to say, at this point, he's 34 years old. So a 34-year-old tight end, heavy usage. At some point, you expect a little bit of a decline. And I think you see him against zone defenses. He kind of has his way. He knows he's smart. He knows where to go on the field facing a zone. Man defense, when you face man and the weapons that Kansas City has, you can double him up. You can kind of take him out of it. And who's winning those one-on-one battles right now, Kansas City? Everything kind of looks like a grind. You got Mecole Hardman. Is he going to win those battles? Justin Watson, is he going to win those battles? So then it becomes, what do you do next? If you take Kelsey out, then you rely on everybody else. And we talked about it before. They are who they are. They have who they have. There's nobody there that's going to get a ton better, I think.
Yeah. And I think there's one other thing we're overlooking. His stats when someone else is in the stands are usually good, and they weren't there.
Who's that?
and
Uh,
that person
Talking about
is
his
off
mom?
on that person just started an international tour, so probably not
Donna
going to be in
Kelsey?
the States for many more games. No, it's not Mama Kelsey.
on
My
the
bad.
Kelsey's tour.
Just want to throw that out there.
Okay. All right. Let's shift to 1:00. Let's get this out of the way real quick because I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the Falcons, but because I believe it or not, I don't like to. All right. May not come across that way, but I don't like to. But it was in the news. The lack of Bijan targets, 1 carry inside the 5-yard line. Johnny Smith also has 1 carry inside the 5. Now, real quick, Arthur's seat is as hot as it's ever been. You can't lose that game versus that team where the quarterback's coming off just getting the cadence for the first time. That's what joke franchises do, lose that game. Now, one thing I will say, this is the only way I'm going to defend Arthur on the Bijan usage. This feels bad and ugly to say. He did fumble again and lose it. It's a very part no one's talking about. That's 2 fumbles lost. So, and Arthur strikes me as the type of 1958 head coach that is going to bench you when something like that happens and try to send a message. Now, I have no problem with using Algier in the goal to go situation. He's a hammer. He's awesome at that. But I want it to be more of the Chris Johnson, Lindell White type deal, the Thunder and Lightning like that. I don't want this what we're doing right now with barely getting Bijan the ball. So it's a must-win game against a 1-8 Cardinals team. So I would like to say right now, temporarily, we are suspending the Falcons season. Okay, we're not getting overly hurt. We're not getting too heart wrapped in it. We have to win this game. Then it's a bye. Then it's a huge game against New Orleans. But right now, we're on a temporary suspension. We're on as Friends fans would say, we're on a break right now. Okay, we're not gonna get too serious. Because and last thing, and then we're moving on. Look, this quarterback, we don't know what we're going to do next year at quarterback. And I got to say this in solemn voice right now. And then, like I said, we're moving on.
I'm just
We don't know who's going to be quarterback next year. Okay. There was a quarterback that just got benched for Will Levis in Tennessee. I swear to God, if this ends up with replacing 38-year-old, 37-year-old Matt Ryan to go through 2 years of this to then come in with 30-late-year-old Ryan Tannehill, I can't do it. Then I'm out on this regime completely. If that's he's brought in so many Titans. Oh, dude!
Wait! Are you doing a Matthew
Titans.
Smith? Are you doing a
No,
Matthew
I won't
Smith?
do that. I mean, I'll still blindly.
Oh, okay.
I won't swear him off, but I'm out on having expectations for this regime. If this ends up with Ryan Tannehill, honestly, I want Kyler. I'm pretty sure. I think he's. I want Kyler. I think it's going to be awesome and dynamic. I think we'll lose in the first round of the playoffs with Kyler. But that's what I want right now. I want Kyler next year. I want to throw the picks at him. We've got all our offensive pieces. We spent the money on defense. It's a quarterback away. Bring me Kyler. Let him run around and chuck some stuff up. Our wide receivers are 6'8". Chuck some stuff up. Let's see what happens. All right. That's the transition because we're moving right into the fact that the Browns destroyed the Cardinals. There's not hardly anything to talk about on the Browns side. Watson looked better, but nothing overwhelming. Kyler's coming back this week. It's just the perfect setup for the Falcons to get everybody's going to be fired up in Arizona. Kyler's back and we get waxed. But what are our expectations fantasy-wise this year for Kyler rest of the way? Do we think that he still has top 6 ability rest of the way?
No, I don't.
No.
You both would have him outside the top 6. Like, I'm just talking about from the games he starts on. Finishes outside the top 6?
Yeah, no. Who's his weapons?
His left and right leg are his weapons.
No, he's going to come out rusty for one. So
he's not,
I
get that, but he's not rusty running. I think I'm overvaluing the running, maybe, but especially because
do you think he's going to be?
That's what I'm saying. As I said,
yeah,
it's like injury might be a concern there. He might not just run all over the place.
He's coming off a torn ACL. I don't think he's going to be out there sprinting around just yet.
I was picturing Roadrunner with the legs. Zoom.
Yeah. No, I'm with Detroit, man. I think the lack of weapons, not a great roster. I think it's going to be peaks and valleys fantasy wise for him. He's going to have some weeks where he looks good and then weeks where it looks terrible.
All right.
Yeah,
Top 10?
I mean, he's not going to. I don't know, man. I'd say top 15.
I was going to say like top 13. Yeah, something like that.
I think the defense is so bad, guys. The defense is so bad.
We know he's the mega power, right? Is he?
No, he's not a mega power. He's a Wampus Cat.
He's a Wampus Cat.
I apologize.
He might be a beach bum, but we'll talk about that in another podcast at another time.
I don't know, man. I don't see it.
I think he's a shoo-in for top 10 if he plays, because his defense is terrible. So he's going to have to keep on his foot on the gas. Okay.
When we last saw him, was he all that good? I can't remember.
No.
It's a difference. Yeah. It's fantasy good and actually good. It's a big difference. Yeah. All right.
I will say this. His next 3 games, Falcons, Texans, Rams.
Oh, no, I'm freezing up.
Say it again, Mike. I'll cut that.
No. His next 3 games, Falcons, Texans, Rams. So he has an opportunity there to play some subpar defenses.
I hope Aaron Donald doesn't get a hold of him.
We were a good defense. Yeah. Grady Jarrett goes out, it hurts things, just so we know. Okay.
And no offense. I didn't mean to take a shot there. No offense.
I mean, you keep reeling me back in.
Bad.
Carson Wentz to the Rams. Do we care at all for dynasty purposes? He was signed to the Zen Masters.
Next subject. No.
Hey, Sage Baker Mayfield.
No.
All right. Now, next we can go to the Patriots. Again, story of the episode. Not a ton happening here. Howe still looks dynamic. He's still getting a lot of chances to throw the ball. He's led up on the sacks. Some Dotson has had another decent game, but the main thing I'm looking at is Ramondre Stevenson finally is having the type of season that he was thought that he could have going into the year. He's the running back 2 on the week, 9 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown, 4 catches for 46. He brings him up to running back 17 on the season. Now that is a St. Albans center. And I believe, do we think that this is going to be more the norm for him the rest of the way? Do we think it's going to be more leaning on Ramondre and he can actually provide what he was supposed to provide?
Well, they don't really have anybody else to rely on, so.
They got the bowling ball.
Who's the bowling ball?
Zeke!
Oh. Yeah. That roster's bad. It's just bad.
Yeah, that opens up a whole Belichick thing with the roster and the free agency. But what it reminds me, looking at Stevenson's stats, Ramondre's 9 carries, 87 yards. And you see this, we talked about this one off the cuff last week. You're seeing this more and more of the offenses. Teams that have success running the football, why don't they stick with it?
That's a good question.
Especially I understand offenses, NFL offenses in 2023 and all that, man. But if you're having success running the football, I don't understand why these guys don't stick with it.
I've been wondering that myself. There's nothing more irritating than watching an offense go 50, 60, 70 yards running the ball, and then they turn around, hey, let's stop running the ball. Let's start trying to throw it in the end zone. What are you doing?
I just don't. You have some subpar quarterbacks, and these offensive coordinators are asking them to throw the ball 30, 40 times. And just don't understand it.
I'm the wrong person to talk about coaches not doing what everybody thinks they should do right now. But yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with what you're saying.
Let's not get another big brain segment here. Let's move it.
I don't have any big brain at the moment, except for when it comes to our next player, Taysom Hill. I'm so sick of this. He has another great performance at tight end. I'm assuming that he must start to to both of you now.
I hate
like,
that he's
every week.
labeled a tight end. It drives me nuts that he qualifies as a tight end.
But what else would you do? Running back? Quarterback?
I don't know. Running back or quarterback makes more sense than tight end.
I mean, his last 4 games, 12, 17, 22, 22. Tight end, 7 on the year.
Wow.
So, I mean, that makes him a must start because they're not going to go away from it.
He is a must start because not only is he's versatile in what they're doing on offense. The offense is looking a little bit better, but he's turned into like their short yardage guy too.
Yeah, especially down on the goal line.
Yeah, Jamal Williams kind of taking a step back there as far as role, and it's really become the Taysom Hill show for those snaps. So yeah, I mean, he's getting a lot of. We talk about fantasy football; it's all about opportunity, and he's getting it.
Yeah. Okay. Don't have anything else from the 1 o'clocks except for. And I hate to bring this up to Troy. I don't know why we've tied you to this now. You did it to yourself. You tied yourself to this player by blaming others for not taking him. CJ Stroud, record-breaking performance, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. This is actually been pretty insane. So,
yeah, I've talked about this before. Like a month out from our draft, I kept saying, you know what? I'm taking Stroud over Young. I'm doing it. And as we got closer to the draft, started questioning myself. Then I'm like, all right, well, I got the 3, 4, and 5 pick. I'll just take 2 of them. No, then I decided I need a wide receiver. That didn't work out either. But anyway,
who was that wide receiver? I just need to know.
Quentin Johnston.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that stat that he's the first rookie quarterback to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. There's only been one other rookie quarterback to do that. Do you know who that is?
Oh. Give me a conference.
It's happened in the last 15 years. I'll say that.
Do you have a conference? NFC?
NFC.
Great radio.
While you guys think about this, I'm going to take a drink from one of our sponsors from Kroger, Big K
Minnesota. Yes! Jesus. I feel like I remember the performance, but I don't have. I mean,
it's actually a very, it's a famous moment. At least, yeah. When I talk about it, when I give the answer.
Any guesses, Mike?
I'm blanking. If somebody lasts 15 years,
yep,
it's done for 400 yards.
Yeah, rookie quarterback.
The guess I have is going to sound so dumb, but I feel like I remember this happening. It's not Cam Newton, right?
Nope.
I just felt like I remember him having a crazy stat game.
Yeah, he threw for 400 sometimes, but
yeah,
the 5 touchdowns is what's throwing me off.
Right. What's
give us the year?
Yeah,
Mahomes, is it?
No, it's NFC. It's NFC.
NFC, that's right. NFC, that's right.
The year might give it to you, but I'll just say it's before 2013.
Give us a division.
Yeah, just tell me who it is.
Yeah, give us
NFC North.
It's not
Matt Stafford.
It's Matthew Stafford.
No way, God.
Do you guys remember the Cleveland Browns game where he gets hurt?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in that game.
Yes.
That game.
Where he runs back in.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a stat pattern that guy was. Ridiculous.
No kidding.
Talk about selfish. I didn't know it was his rookie year.
Yep.
All right.
Huh.
All right. Well, I'm glad we brought up old Stroud. Gave us a nice segue to some beautiful discussion there. All right. 4 p.m. games. Let's move on. Let's move on to 4 p.m. We talked last week about AOC not being able to facilitate 2 options on the Raiders. Myers and Adams. We thought he couldn't keep both going. He started hot with Myers. And Myers had a productive game. But I think we overlooked the main beneficiary that could be from this QB change, and that is Mr. Josh Jacobs. 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, running back 4 on the week. And fellas, I think that this is going to persist with Jacobs because he strikes me as diva's the wrong word, but he strikes me as wants to be made happy type of player. He's a little bit of an odd guy, not good or bad, just a little bit of an odd guy. And I think that he is the type that's really going to flourish from getting rid of McDaniels, from just happiness.
I think everybody's going to benefit from getting rid of McDaniels on that team.
I know.
Go ahead.
I know we tell a lot when we're right, but we were right on McDaniels from the jump. And he is now apparently public enemy number one. I almost feel bad now.
I have to give credit. There was a person that's been talking about that for at least 2-3 years now. He's our other co-host that isn't here this week. He's been on that. He's been on that for 2 years. Yep. But do you guys see them? I was just gonna say, do you guys see them more as a 500 team for the here on out?
I do not.
I think it depends how well this formula works. I think their successful formula: run the football, spread it around a little bit, protect the quarterback. Like Adams, you would think like Adams needs to be more involved, but he also kind of sneaky led the team in targets.
Yeah,
they just got to complete those, and it keeps the defense off the field as much with the run game. I think this is their success, and I think as long as AOC comes along, I think they hover right around that 500, maybe a game or two below, but somewhere in there.
The schedule's not a cakewalk. What's left? The Jets. It's not. I mean, we'll see what happens. I know the Jets aren't very good, but that defense will keep them in every game. The Dolphins, the Chiefs. You got the Vikings after that with Jefferson back, presumably after they opened up the 21-day window today. Then you go Chargers, Chiefs again, Colts, and then the end with the Broncos, which who knows what the Broncos will be come week 18. Who knows what either of these teams will be. It's not the easiest of roads left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying they can't do it. It's just I would like to have one of the Chiefs games out of the way by now, and they still have them both. So let's see. Dak, let's go to Mike's Cowboys here. Dak continues to impress from a fantasy perspective. QB2 on the week, 374-3. And Lamb comes right along with it. Wide receiver 2, 11 and 191. Mike, how are we feeling about the Cowboys right now?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. Since the Niners game, they've responded as far as what Dak has, as far as how he's playing and how well the offense has looked. CeeDee Lamb has raised the level. He's got Jake Ferguson to raise the level. You would still like to see more of Brandon Cooks because that's why you brought him in to stretch the field, going across the field deep. I mean, you're just not seeing that. Michael Gallup, that experiment's kind of failed. They still can't figure out the run game. But, as successful as the Cowboys want to be, I mean, it all comes down, and we talked about it on the last pod off the cuff, it all comes down to 1st and 5 on the 6-yard line. You go back 20 yards. How serious of a football team are you when that's what you do in those kind of situations? So, a lot of the same.
That last series was such Eagles with the dumb bonehead plays at the start of that drive, and then the Cowboys with the bonehead plays at the end. It was like both teams were just trying to give it away.
Well, I think you said it in the chat during the game, was they had 1st and 5 on the 6 and no timeouts. And they got called for the false start, but I think they were going to run a quarterback draw.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It made no sense. I'm like, what are they doing?
I don't know.
Oh, they had over 400 yards in total offense in that game. I actually thought they looked better than the Eagles. I know I'm going to get some hate mail from the Dobermans for saying that, but
well, we said it 2 weeks ago. We're going to see if this run for Dak continues. He does have the 3rd easiest quarterback schedule remaining, or 3rd easiest schedule for quarterbacks left through the fantasy playoffs. So he should stay hot in theory. I like that he's using his legs a little bit more mobility. Like we said, he's been a little gunshot since the ankle sprain, as Romo famously said. So we'll see if that continues. That's all I got for the 4:00 games. There wasn't a lot happening. I mean, you're not starting any Giants players with any type of confidence. Barkley, because you have to, but that's about it. Let's see what else. Bryce Young struggles. Nothing new there. One touchdown, 3 interceptions. Nothing much you can do there. We're just gonna see if he can continue to develop. And you don't write off a 1.1 pick this early by any means. So we'll see. We'll see if he can develop. I will say the thing he's got going for him, and this isn't what Trey Lance had for him. This isn't what Ritter's not in the same boat, but not like him. That team is in the same place as the pick, and that matters when you're developing a brand new talent. Like that team is expected to lose right now, so they can wait and develop and see what happens. But the only thing I have concern with him is the knock on him was his size. It wasn't his accuracy, and it wasn't his decision making, and both those have looked shaky to start. So that's the only nitpick I have on that. But I just, from a dynasty perspective, you're gonna want to let it play out. And him with the team is in a, because they don't even have their first round pick. Remember, to replace them if they would fall into the K-Dub sweepstakes. They can't even Jimmy Clausen this guy. There's a name.
I love it. I love that reference.
There's a name. Let's see. Sunday night, Burrow impresses. It's a lot like it was where we started out slow and then he hits the gas and they've been on fire. Tee Higgins outperforms Chase, and now we got a back injury with Chase. And then right before we started, I'm seeing that Tee Higgins had a light practice. So he's questionable. I believe it's a hamstring. I could be wrong on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's questionable, but it is nice to see Tee Higgins coming along. Of course, we've seen Burrow coming along for a while now, but Tee Higgins is our subject for our trade debate this week. So it's the same as always. You're a middling team. So you got playoff aspirations. You're not dominant, and you're not in the lottery. So you have Tee Higgins. Let's bring it up. I'm going to bring it up over here. I have it. Oh, let me see. Where's my right one here? You have Tee Higgins. Are you trading him away for? Let's start with the higher ones. You have Tee Higgins. Are you trading him away for TJ Hawkinson?
I'll let Mike go.
I don't know. Well, that's the way you think about it. You're like, man, Hawkinson's pretty solid, and you take into the Dobbs situation.
Yeah,
but it's dynasty though.
I know, and that's why I would say it's no secret. If you look at my team for a minute, you'll see wide receivers everywhere. You give me a big, talented wide receiver like that in an offense like that with a quarterback like Burrow, I'm hard pressed to send that guy away, unless something that would really blow me away.
But I don't. But the thing is with Higgins, you don't know where he's going to be next year.
That's true too.
This could be a Peerless Price situation where he ends up in Carolina, and it's just thought he could be the one.
How old is
Tee Higgins? Is 24.8 months old.
Wow.
Like that. 24.8.
Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely hanging on to him.
He said too. Yeah.
I just gotta hope that he stays with Cincinnati.
Okay, we got another tight end here, Mark Andrews. This one is tough this week.
This one's tough for me because I feel like Mark Andrews he's that guy that like you expect him to be hurt any second now. Like he
also did not know he was diabetic until today. Had no clue.
I don't know what that has to do with.
I just say it came out today. There's no bigger Andrew Stan than me, and I had no clue.
I just want to let the fans know we are pro diabetic. We don't.
Why did me point it out? Make me anti. It was in the news.
We believe in insulin and the use of.
Yeah,
the KDFL.
Checks it 20 times a game.
Brett is known as a no jabber. He doesn't believe in vaccines. But anyways, I don't know. Andrews, I feel like he's that guy. He'll get you a game where it's like 28 points. But also get you a game where he only gets 8 points.
Can I get a yes or no on Mark Andrews?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no, fine.
I mean, you're not punishing me by saying no. What are you talking about? Why'd you
I was
say
just
no?
giving you. You give me a question. I'm giving you my reasoning.
No, it's fine. I just like to know, like it was a punishment to me for rushing you.
Jeez, man. Sorry, I won't bring up your
my bad.
anti-vaccine
All
status
right,
anymore.
let's go. Kenneth Walker.
No.
No.
You're keeping Tee Higgins?
Yes.
You guys have no concern about where he ends up next year.
Is Charbonnet the better running back anyway?
I don't think so.
Nah.
I mean, what, Mike? I mean, what?
I don't know. I mean, that's something to, I mean.
He has looked better. He has looked better.
I
All right. Brandon Ayuk.
Man. I like Ayuk.
I do too. I mean, he's like the Niners' #1, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's he's their best wide receiver, I would say, as far as the route running, things like that. Yeah. But there's so many options in that offense.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I mean, do I want Brock Purdy throwing me the ball or do I want Joe Burrow throwing me the ball?
Yeah, I have a question, by the way. The KDFL.
I'm telling you, it's not going to be Joe Burrow.
Are you all pro Brock Purdy or what?
I love it. You're acting like this show is stalled for time, so we're just going to do an MJ LeBron debate real quick. He's fine. He's fine. Yeah, I like him.
He's fine. Okay, he's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
I have no problem with him. I'd take him on my team for a fantasy quarterback. I mean, that's not really saying much, but if we're talking from a fantasy standpoint, yeah, even as a regular quarterback, I'm fine with
him. Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know.
Yeah, I've been pretty adamant about trying to make the word system QB not be a negative thing, like it sounds like, because it is just part of your situation that needs to be taken into account.
The hype was so high, like when he was doing so well.
He did need down a few pegs.
Now that he's thrown with 5 interceptions in his last 3 games, everyone's like, "Oh, see, he's terrible. He's done."
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on,
we're starting to swing too far. Yeah, the other way.
Yeah.
All right, one last one for old Tee Higgins. DK Metcalf.
Ooh.
I love the stumping. It's making great. This does come out in
audio
only.
Who's going to be quarterback for the Seahawks moving forward?
I don't know. You guys have already tied this man to Joe Burrow for the rest of his life. He's probably gone next season.
Nah, it's fine.
I think I might. I don't know. I don't even.
That's the heartstrings here with Detroit. Here we go. His diamond in the rough he found.
No, I'd probably go Metcalf. Because the way I look at it, Lockett's going to be done soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I'm going Metcalf.
I would agree.
I got one for you guys. How about Gibbs?
Where is Gibbs here? I would go Gibbs. I would go Gibbs because of the age of Montgomery.
A very small sample size for Gibbs, but
it's fine. It's age of Montgomery. And like I said, Tee Higgins, I got real concerns about where he goes next year. He also has a little bit of a nagging injury history that is not talked about a lot. And he does have that. Like he is hurt a decent amount. So I would go Gibbs.
I would agree because I think his ceiling is, I mentioned it in the other show, like a souped up Eckler, or we mentioned LT. I mean, to be able to do run and out of the backfield catching a football, I think his ceiling is as high as it can be if they use it.
Yeah,
that's the key.
The only other thing I have for the NFL is Eckler
More
team machine.
Talk?
No, that Monday night football game was awful. Again, Eckler still looks inefficient on the ground, but he's still got 2 touchdowns, so he's having a good comeback off his injury. But the only other thing I would want to watch is the Jets cannot be too like this QB situation is like something festering right now. And I think Rodgers is only saying this comeback stuff to keep them in it, to keep them, not giving up. Because this eventually the defense is like, dude, I'm tired of this. And I mean, how long is the offense be like? I'm so sick of the guy who can't give me the ball. Bottom line is, when are we seeing Tim Boyle? The beautiful Tim Boyle.
I don't think you will. I don't think you will.
Well, wasn't Saleh asked about Trevor Siemian?
He asked him if they're going to elevate him because he's still in the practice squad. Now, I don't need to see Trevor Siemian. I'd rather see Zach Wilson than that. I'd rather see Zach Wilson try to figure it out. But Tim Boyle, my man. I mean, it can't get much worse.
I think the atmosphere of the Jets is so terrible. Like, if you watch the offense, we all see the problems and everything, but you can't continue to tell the defense, just hang in there, guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly.
I mean, they're killing themselves.
All right, I got something special for you guys. I know the Zenful Matt Smith is not here, but he did want us to proceed. I offered him exclusivity on his college player. What would you give for this college player this week? But he said, no, I want it to flourish. And who does he give us this week to go over? A wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. What would you trade for Mr. Harrison? I have a number of players here. But first, I'll start with the Matt Smith quote with this. And it is quote. Let me get this word for word correct.
I remember this.
I want you all to know I'd sell my soul for this man. So it's pretty high, on old Marv. Pretty high on Marvin. So let me start. Let's start lower. Okay. We'll start DK Metcalf.
Yes.
Yes.
We say yes, it's Marvin, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, DK Metcalf. Okay. Whew. This is how the rankings are. So
Marvin Harrison,
Tee Higgins.
He's like the. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we were so big on Tee Higgins a mere 45 seconds ago, and Detroit just put the yes.
Harrison is like the most. Can you guys think of a more hype? I don't want to say hyped, but wide receiver coming out that is supposed to be this good? I can't think of one in a long time.
No.
I mean, he's getting Heisman hype. He's basically, watch Ohio State, he's kind of their offense, kind of saves the day for him. And anytime you're already getting, man, like Jamar Chase, AJ Green comps.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at the KDFL drafts. Some of these are not great.
Let's not go down that route.
Woo! Let's just say I agree. There hasn't been a wide receiver this hyped in a while. All right. Okay, Stephon Diggs. Get up there now. Oh, I skipped one. It wasn't on purpose.
I think I'm gonna go with Harrison.
Woo!
I know. Diggs, he's kind of a head case, and I don't know. That situation seems kind of wild.
He just turned 29 years old.
Yeah.
He seems very emotional if he doesn't get the football. I think I'm going Harrison too.
All right, I'll skip it over my accident, but I'm assuming this might both be Harrison. Devontae Smith?
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to. We can take a beat. It's 25.
Absolutely.
All right. Chris Olave.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Harrison.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest, now I'm sitting here thinking about this. There's not too many receivers I would.
You make it out of the top? Okay, we'll go. Okay.
No, seriously.
Okay, no, I'll go top four. I'll go top four. Because all right, no, this is my favorite one. This is actually my favorite. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I'm going to go with Harrison. I think St. Brown is more of a.
It's weird for me to be on this side of the story this week. Yeah, I get you.
Well, I mean, St. Brown does get a ton of catches, but he's not the touchdown guy. Like I say that, I don't even know how many touchdowns he has. You'd think I'd know that as a Lions fan, but I think we're talking about a guy that could be a Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. I'm talking like elite wide receiver.
Maybe even the Marvin
Elite
Harrison.
of the elite. Yeah.
He could be.
That's
All right,
just
Mike.
me.
St. Brown.
Second Harrison. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hashtag draft him Debbie League. What's up? But
Fire it
I
up.
think
Let's go.
I do like St. Brown, but I think that offense, that Ben Johnson offense, I think that accentuates the talent too and gets him, schemed up to get open and things like that. But as far as like raw talent, things like that, I'm going Harrison.
All right. You gotta keep making me push the limit here. CD Lamb.
I'm going Harrison.
Detroit.
I know. As I'm wearing all Michigan gear.
Right.
Yeah.
Really?
I think he's more. I love CD, but I think Harrison is more physical. I think that's something that CD's had trouble with at times. I think Harrison is more physical at the top.
Okay. AJ Brown.
This is the guy I was thinking about. This would be tough. I do love AJ Brown and his system that he's in, and with this quarterback. He's still young, right? He's still young.
AJ Brown is 26.
This is where I go. This is where I go. AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Okay. We found our level. Obviously, Jefferson and Chase stay where they're at, but that was it. That's it. There's no more bullets to fire. AJ Brown's the pre-ranked, wide receiver 3 right now.
Yeah, because I can see Harrison being a Jefferson or a Chase. Very easily.
Right. It always plays that. There's always that gamble of, well, if I trade this, am I not just hoping I get that back? Like, you know what I mean? So that's a little bit more, but All right, that was interesting. I've only been on the other side of that so far in this segment. So very, very interesting stuff. And fellas, let me make sure I got it all. That's it. That's all we have from the NFL.
We're done. All right.
That's the show.
Brett, you suck. I'll see you guys later.
I can see what happens coming forward, why you might want to skip over this. Spoiler alert. But you're going to start us off at Detroit. Take it away, KDFL Week 9. It's the captain's recap.
Yes, the captain. Well, we miss you, but we thank you for all the work that you do. This week, my Upview River Rats head over to St. Albans. The Senators, I take that back. The Senators traveled to Upview, hoping to keep their league best record and keep their historical success against the River Rats intact. At 6-2, the Senators sat atop of the 0-6 division, which I still don't understand, while the River Rats at 4-4 were also atop of their respective division. The Senators' high-powered offense would keep things rolling in this one, with Stevenson scoring 23, Diggs nearly matching his projection with 22, and Levante David leading the way on the defensive side with 22 points. While the River Rats had a few bright spots, Carr with 19 and Mostert with 15, it wouldn't be nearly enough as the Senators go into Elkview and easily defeat the River Rats 257-174.
Phil does these recaps, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Well, guess what? I'm not reading it, okay? Phil has trashed me on this show for years, and he's down there. I don't know what he's doing in Wake Forest, tending to the trees or whatever, while he's writing these things up, sitting there eating an apple or something under the tree. I'm not doing it. I'm not reading this crap. I'm going to do this my way. Johnny Appleseed coming through. I'm not doing it. This week we had the Melbourne Mega Powers traveling to South Hills, face the defending champions. Melbourne on a bit of a roll. Some would say hottest team in the league, maybe. Now, here's the thing. He got on that bus with the team, head coach. He heads up the interstate. He's coming to Charleston. He gets into Canal City. And what's he want? He's thinking hot and ready cheese pizza, Little Caesars. Let's do it, guys. And what does he hit in Canal City, if you're familiar? Nothing but construction and paving. So they're sitting there on that bus for 2 hours waiting on that cheese pizza, and his gears are grinding. He's upset, teeth are gnashing, can't wait to hit the field. And what happens? Melbourne shocking the world. 272, 254. Dak Prescott, 31 points showing up. Rashad White, I think he was RB1 this week, 27-9. He got in the end zone twice. He got big performances out of his defense, his linebackers, tackling machines. South Hills coming up short. That Adam Thielen trade, he had 7.9 points. Come up a little bit short. Everybody talked about that one. Jamar Chase, 8. Cooper Kupp, 8. Just came up short on his end, and the champs are reeling as Melbourne gets another win, and hottest team in the league, some would say.
So let's say.
Not me. But
All right, next we go to Dogtown, where the Dobermans are hosting the Gamblers. And the Dobermans came into this one winners of 5 straight, while the Gamblers came in having to fold in 4 of their last 5 games. Odds makers favored the Dobermans by 40 points. The only thing the Gamblers had going was prior history in this matchup. The Gamblers had strong hands from Khalil Mack, who had 23, Madison, who had 17, and Jalen Warren, who reached his season high of 14. However, things were looking good for the Dobermans as Josh Allen scored and Joe Burrow both with 25 and 24 respectively, and Cole Kmet having a huge day with 26. What kept this close and the Gamblers in it, however, was the Dobermans' poor defensive output with 5 guys scoring under 6 points each. That allowed just enough space for the Gamblers to make a move on Monday night and pull out the close upset in Dogtown, 210 to 207.
next, we have the Roxalana Renegades heading south to take on the Wake Forest Lumberjacks. A matchup between two teams trending in the opposite directions. This one stayed the course. The Renegades got a monster game from TJ Edwards at linebacker, scoring 28 points. Jonathan Taylor and Joe Mixon both had 18. With Tee Higgins, man, we've talked about that guy a lot tonight, leading on offense with 19 points. On the other side, it was an absolutely horrendous showing for the Lumberjacks, with only 5 players reaching double digits in points, and 4 of those were on defense. Sam Howell was the lone star for the Lumberjacks, scoring 18. The entire Lumberjacks offense combined, excluding Howell, were nearly outscored by the Renegades' TJ Edwards, with only a difference of 3 points. The Renegades went into Wake Forest and it just obliterated the Lumberjacks 254 to 140.
We had to knock it, T. Phil, once again, I'm not reading it, so you can take it and shove it. We had to knock it, T, as the Kanawha County Kings travel south. That coach, he's supposed to go down this week. He actually went down a week early, knocked on his door, smacked him in the face, challenged him to a duel, and come out on top this week, 238 to 205. That Cowboys combination of CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson combined for 50 points as the Kings continue to put up points in the KDFL. Inconsistent performances on the offensive side of the ball for Nocatee. Taysom Hill did show up at 21. Max Crosby, 25 as always with his high motor, but just over 200 points isn't going to cut it against the Kings, who have been competitive this year league-wide and could shock the world and get into the playoffs, make some noise.
All right. Now, we do our Marmot Midnight Riders redo of the game of the week as they host the Wampus Cats. And both the Wampus Cats and Midnight Riders came into this one looking to keep their strong starts to the season going, with each team sitting at 5-3. The Wampus Cats got strong contributions from Deontay Johnson, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry, each scoring over 19. Bentley had a team, however, leading the way with 26. Unfortunately for the Cats, key players such as Justin Herbert, Kenneth Walker, and DK Metcalf all had their worst games of the season. Meanwhile, for the Midnight Riders, Dalton Schultz had a huge game, scoring more than the 3 aforementioned big word captain players combined with 27. Baker chipped in with 21, and Keenan Allen had 16. With projections fairly high, this one ended up being our lowest scoring matchup of the week. Back in a compliment there from the captain, but the Marmot Midnight Riders get their W, 212 to 199, and that is it for your Week 9 captain recap. Throw the results of our picks up on the big board now. You can see Detroit goes 3-3. Matt 2-4. This man drops back down to a record of 500 on his picks in the KDFL. 4-2 for yours truly, improving to 33-21. Now Detroit and I hit our locks of Philly -3 and Chicago +8.5. And for this second straight week, the Stealing Money parlay cashes. All right, so boys, back to us now. That's it for week 9 in the books. An exciting week. And as we go into week 10, we're going to see a little bit of a trend with the game of the week. But first, let's start out. Detroit, we'll go to you first, and then we'll go to Mike. Just one or two things you're looking at for this game, and give me your winner. Detroit, let's start with the 3-6 Lumberjacks being hosted by the 6-3 Dobermans. All right, so here we are. Week 10 is up on the board. We'll start with you, Detroit, and then we'll go to Mike, wrap up with me, and then on to the next. Detroit, take us away with the Lumberjacks at 3-6, kind of reeling a little bit, traveling to Dogtown to take on the surging Dobermans.
Yeah, when I was looking at this matchup, obviously the Dobermans are a big favorite. The Lumberjacks, the matchup I'm looking at is Joshua Dobbs in the second game going against the Saints defense, who is a
Joshua
top
Dobbs.
Joshua who?
Did I say it?
Joshua Dobbs. It's Dobbs.
That's a great nickname. That's a great nickname.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was
Dobbs.
talking about, guys. He's all he does is get dubs.
Oh,
Josh
God.
Dobbs.
I love it.
All right.
Fantastic.
Apparently, we're not going to cut that. We're just going to leave that in.
No, we can't cut your name mispronunciations. You know that. That's gold.
Sorry, Joshua Dobbs. Going against the Saints defense, who are 7th ranked, they only give up about 190 yards passing a game, so I'm looking forward to that. For the Dobermans, I want to see CMC against the Jags, which you will be there, Brett.
Yep.
The Jags only give up about 10 points a game to fantasy running backs. Jags got a nice little run defense, so I'm looking forward to that. With all that said, though, I'm definitely taking the Dobermans. Go Dubs.
I mean, Wake Forest is just, they've already packed it in for the season. There's no interest here in winning this game. They're already thinking about next season. Dogtown, momentum, big shock last week though, but still, gonna be a playoff team. Gonna be a team to deal with in the playoffs. Burrow going against Houston should put up big numbers. I still like CMC against the Jags. I think he can get some catches. I think it's gonna be a back and forth game, so I have some opportunity there. Kamara against Minnesota. I think Dogtown big.
Look, the bias in me is only looking at one thing in this matchup, and it's the usage of Bijan Robinson versus a terrible Cardinals defense. There's never been more pressure on Arthur to get his usage right, so we'll see if he responds or if he does what he's always been doing and just puts his head in the sand, and we get to welcome in the Ben Johnson era. That's right. I meant to say it earlier and didn't get to, so I'm shoehorning it in now. All right, so as far as this game, give me the Dobermans, getting the easy win. Lumberjacks continue to reel. All right, next up, Detroit. Tell me about the Gamblers off a very surprising win at 3-6 now, taking on the number 1 team in the league right now, the St. Albans Sinners.
Yes, for the Gamblers, I want to see Aiden O'Connell against the Jets defense, and that is Aiden O'Connell, not AOC like Mike referred to her earlier.
Couldn't help it.
We want a ban on that. I don't like that. Anyways, for the Sinners.
Sir, in the rundown, it stated AOC, and I just read off the rundown, so that's Brett's fault. So,
and
I'm just a guest here.
Anyways, I won't make any more.
I knew. I was like, you're gonna double dip on the vaccine knock. Now there we go. Let's go.
For the Sinners, Tony Pollard's who I want to look at in this game. He's only had one game of over 10 fantasy points in his last 5. Can he get it going? I don't think it even matters, though. The Sinners should easily take down the Gamblers.
I agree totally. I think the Gamblers, that their win last week, it was shooting a shot. St. Albans continues to play well. Gambler side, that Aiden O'Connell gets the Jets, and then Mac Jones going to Germany to face the Colts. I mean, I don't expect much either way. Sinners, big.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. I want to see if Ramondre Stevenson can keep up that impressive week he had last week, and see if he is going to be what he was broadcast to be going into the season, and see if the Sinners can keep rolling. I think they will. So give me the Sinners getting the easy dub over the Gamblers and sending them to 3-7. Next, we have the 2-7 Zen Masters traveling to Roxalana to take on the 6-3 Renegades.
Yes, for this matchup, for the Renegades, I want to see what David Montgomery's workload is going to look like. MCDC did come out and say that Gibbs is going to get his touches, so I do expect that to increase. Gibbs is actually averaging 5.1 yards a carry, or 5.3 yards a carry compared to Montgomery's 4.1. So we could see an uptick there. For the Zen Masters, I love Lamar going against Cleveland. I think I saw Cleveland is number 2 against fantasy quarterbacks giving up points. So that defense is stout. But this looks like a close matchup, but I don't think it's going to be. I'm going to take the Renegades.
I agree the same way. Goff against the Chargers. I think he can produce some points there. Heineke going against the Cardinals, he should produce there, but it's the Falcons, so who knows? Lamar going against Cleveland, that's tough. Trevor Lawrence against the Niners, that could be interesting if they can get after him a little bit, that pass rush. You would expect Brees Hall to get a heavy load against the Raiders after what we saw from that offense. He's going to get plenty of opportunities, but I continue to like the Renegades defense. I think that defense can swing matchups any week. So based on the quarterback matchups, give me Roxalana.
I'm looking at this. I think it's going to be very close. Just because the running back matchups for Nakati are very strong. If we can get, this is the main thing I'm watching, if we can get James Cook the role he's supposed to have and running the ball more frequently. He's been on a downturn for a few weeks now, and it doesn't make sense because every time he touches it, it seems to work out well. But I think it's going to be close on the offensive side, but the defensive side give the edge to the Renegades and give them the victory. All right, now we go to Elkview, where the Kings are coming to town to take on the 4-5 division leading Elkview River Rats. Take it away, Detroit.
The River Rats leading the division is a complete joke. I don't know how this is happening. Of course, it benefits the defending champ because he keeps losing, but we all know he's going to still win the division and make the playoffs. Talking about my team, I wrote down 3 words, and it says, this team stinks. All right. For the Kings, Brock Purdy. Like I said, he had 5 interceptions in his last 3 games. He's going against the Jags defense. The Jags are 30th against the pass. They're 3rd against the run, though. Of course, Brock's not known as just slinging it, but the Kings should have no problems. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they win by 70 this week.
Man just can't merely pick against his own team, has to predict a 70-point beatdown.
Just to complete demise, yeah. I really want to pick Oakview here. I do. I think it's my understanding their coach is a big Michigan fan, and they want to rally around what's going on. Harbaugh and the whole program, they want to rally. But I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson against the Giants. Like you mentioned, Purdy and the Jags matchup. I think it's too much firepower on the Kings side. Give me the Kings. Big.
Yeah, I think the big thing to watch is to see how Brock Purdy responds with his past few games being a little bit of a struggle. And the main thing here is he's got all the momentum because Kanawha County King and guest host GM of this podcast, Tim McCarthy, will be in the stands for this game to cheer on Purdy, to cheer on ETN. And, of course, the commish will be in the stands as well to cheer on his Niners. So they'll have just that much more to play for. So for that reason, give me the Kings to get the W. Now, next, we head down south, right here to Melbourne. It's the 6-3 Marmot Midnight Riders being hosted by the Melbourne Mega Powers. Detroit, take it away.
Yeah, this matchup surprised me when I was looking at this, and it looks like it's about a 5-point spread. Mike, your Midnight Riders, you don't have to re-kill this week, so that hurts. As for the Mega Powers, like he said, some say are the hottest team in the league. Not me. I'm not one of those that say that. But Dak with back-to-back big points. Man, I went back and forth. I almost wanted to take you, Brett, but I just can't do it. Somehow, some way, the Midnight Riders are going to end this streak and take down your terrible Melbourne Mega Powers.
Take it away, Mike.
Oh, man. Well, here's how you got to look at it from my perspective. It's a long trip south. That's number one. Number two, Melbourne is on fire. Hottest team in the league. He's got a tan going. He's on the beach. He's got a good pump. He's riding the waves. And how are we going to respond when we roll south? Because here's the deal, and this is a true story. I have quite a few injuries. I have 10 people want to buy. 6 of those are starters. I think the word of the year in the KDFL has been depth. We're going to find out what kind of depth I have. And I don't think it's going to work out for me. I'm taking the Mega Powers to continue to roll.
Ooh.
All right, look, we did the picks. We don't know each other's picks when we do them. So this is about to be a new low moment for the pod. The main thing that I'm watching right here is Trey McBride has been playing better. He gets Kyler back. Let's see how that relationship works and if there's a connection there, because we've set on Trey McBride for almost 3 years now in Melbourne, waiting on this to flourish, trying to see the chickens come to roost. With all that being said, it's just the law of averages. You can't keep scoring in the 270s like Melbourne's been doing. So I have the Midnight Riders getting the win.
So you both picked against your
team. It's the first time I think I remember for the other team to the owner to pick the other team. So new low moment for the pod. A reverse jinx of a reverse jinx of a reverse jinx. And we go on. Now, we're going to redo what we did for the Midnight Riders. We're now doing that for the Wampus Cats. It's the back-to-back game of the week, unprecedented. But this time, Hurricane is traveling to South Hills to take on the Evil Empire. Hurricane sets at 5-4. The Evil Empire sets at 4-5. Detroit, what do you have for us?
Yeah, like I said, I was touching on a little bit earlier. The Evil Empire, they're so fortunate right now being in the worst division probably in the history of the KDFL. But they have no Mahomes, no Kelsey, no Hurts, and no Cup. And yet they're still a 5-point favorite. So against a team that is over 500. For the Wampus Cats, what I'm looking for is Kyler Murray, as we talked about earlier. What kind of production are we going to get from him? Herbert going against the Lions, I kind of think that one's going to be a little bit of a shootout. If he can get anything from his running backs, I think he might just upset the Evil Empire. So I'm going to go on a limb and go with the Wampus Cats this week.
Well, here's the deal. This is my co-host on Off the Cuff. So I have to talk about. It's all about championship DNA at this point. It's all about bringing everybody together in that locker room, and can you respond as a champion? Everybody's looking down on you, saying, "Can he repeat? What's wrong with him? He's 4-5." You know, and when you travel to South Hills, it's champagne wishes and caviar dreams, and I think it's going to be a nightmare for the Wampus Cats this weekend. Give me South Hills to respond as a champion.
All right. I'm looking at this, and I was going to go Wampus Cats at first, but I got to catch up games on Detroit. I'm 3 games back. I'm looking at this. The main thing I'm looking at is, will Saquon Barkley be able to do anything against that Dallas rush defense where he has no one with him? We're very skeptical on what Saquon can do. And I'm staring at this more and more. And I'm telling you what, Kyler Murray getting the Falcons and the Evil Empire have Jonnu Smith with Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts on bye. They're going with Jonnu Smith in the OP slot. I can't do it in good faith. I can't pick a team starting Jonnu Smith in on the OP slot. I got to still roll with Detroit and his pick. Give me the Wampus Cats to get the win. Lord help. All right. That's it for the Week 10 predictions. Stop the share here. We're back. Mike, I appreciate the joining of the show this week. You may be on a 2-week contract. I'm not 100% sure on the availability of the Zinful Matt Smith. We'll send the flyer out. We'll send the Raven out and see what he has for us. But sir, you're responsible for his picks this week, which includes a lock of the week and a dog. Take it away with your lock of the week and your upset.
Well, I want to start with the underdog of the week, and I appreciate you guys inviting me in and filling in with Matt's seat here. You know, and it only feels right. Fill in Matt's seat. He's back in the saddle. Vegas over the Jets. Lock it in. Somehow the Jets are favored by 1.5. I think that the Jets are in a terrible spot. Raiders are feeling good about themselves in that locker room. Give me the Raiders as underdog. Now, lock of the week. I was thinking hard about this. I was looking for things everywhere, what to do. You know, fall is here and winter's approaching. It's getting colder out there. You know, makes me want to get out of here and go someplace warm. I want to feel good. You know, someplace where the beer flows like wine and the beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. That's what I want. You know where I'm going? I'm going west. I'm going to Hawaii. Hawaii. It's now the sun. All right. What do I need for Hawaii? What do I need to pack? Do I need a coat? No, I don't need a coat. Extra gloves? No. It's hot out there. Suntan lotion. The sun is now the sun. All right. Who has a special bond with the sun? The sun god himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know, okay, where do I want to go in Hawaii? I'm traveling. Where do I want to go? The capital. What's the capital in Hawaii? Honolulu. Honolulu is now the sun. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Honolulu. Honolulu blue, the Lions colors. It's all coming together. The Detroit Lions. Lock it in. Book it. Helmet in the background behind Detroit. Book it. Lions over the Chargers.
If no one's ever seen the Jerry Jersey sign bit, that's going to make no sense to them whatsoever. But that was phenomenally done.
That was beautiful.
Phenomenally done. All right,
that's going to be hard for me. That's going to be hard for me to follow up, man. That's tough. But like I always say, I have to put this little out there. I do not condone gambling.
Oh my God. That catches me off guard.
If you don't have it, don't do it. It can lead you down a wrong path. I mean, it can be really bad. You could be posting every day about your lock of the weeks in Discord. You know, you don't want to be one of those people. So, with that said, I'm taking the Panthers over the Bears. The Bears.
You deserve that.
That's my upset. And my lock of the week is Tampa -1.5 over the Tennessee Titans. And once again, I want to thank Mike for joining us. It's great having you. Maybe we can have you again later on in the season. And as always,
next week.
You suck.
Maybe next week, like I just freaking teased Detroit. It could be next week. Oh,
man, why are you gonna yell, man? All because of the vaccine joke. Come on, man.
If you made it this far in the daggone episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. For my lock of the week, I don't see how the Seahawks cover 6 points. So naturally, it's worked for me 4 weeks in a row. So let's take the Seahawks. Let's lay the 6 points. And then for my dog, I have the Packers outright beating the Steelers. Steelers coming off a high win. They usually fumble it up a little bit at home when that happens, and the Packers are coming to town. And the Steeler money parlay. We did good giving some points to the Bucks. So let's do Bucks plus 10.5. Let's do the Cardinals plus 10.5 against the Falcons. Falcons can't blow out anybody. And give us the Bills money line, getting the win on Monday night over the Broncos. Parlay it all up, -140. We'll see if we can hit again for the third week in a row and get back to 500. So for Marmot Midnight Rider, Mike McGee, and for Jonathan Detroit Haynes, I'm Brett Steele, and we will see you here next week right here on the KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast.